What is going on, guys? Welcome to another Dent Digest live show. Got my good friend here, Randy Carl. We are in the paradise here. Got some water behind us at the beach. Told you it would be an interesting location. So thanks for joining me. Got a couple things. We're going to go over what a customer actually wants when they call a Paintless Dent Repair Company. And I want to go over last week, do a little recap with Mike Toledo. It was a really good show last week. It was getting into the nitty gritty with Mike Toledo, kind of getting his back history, getting his how he got started in the industry, and what's to come with Dent Time. Super awesome to have him on. It was some good questions. I kind of hammered them. Everything's raw with me, so there's no script. There's no pre-answered questions, just real questions and real information. We are having some cocktails here today. You got to have yourself a little RPS. But yeah, it was a really good show with Mike. Couldn't ask a better guest to come on. But I do have a new tool I want to bring on, and it has to get mentioned here. Hudson's new inspection wedge. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I used it. I got it in the mail, I guess, last week, and I used it this week a couple times. And what it is pretty much a wedge. It has a light in there. It has a little stream light in there. So when you put it in the door, it casts light onto the inside of the door, and you can kind of see the bracing, the sound deadening. This thing is awesome. It's well built. It's got the little Allen key right here. If you want to take this out, some guys are putting borescopes in there so you don't scratch the glass. There's a lot of options you can use this. I just talked to him on my live feed on Facebook, and he was saying that he's using them for the top caps on the Dodge Rams, and he's turning the light on and seeing where the clips are and popping them all up. Or it was a Silverado. So it's a great idea. Dentcraft carries it. There's a lot of guys that are carrying this thing right now. Anson's carrying it. It's like $20. It's totally worth it. It's well made. You couldn't ask for anything, a better tool. It's a great idea. I saw his original one at MT last year. It's just kind of a 3D printed idea. And I didn't even know this was coming out this early. So get yourself one. Hudson from the Dent Inspection Wedge. It's awesome. It's a cool tool. But yeah, we got the Dent Reaper in here. What's going on? What's up, James? So anyway, back to the Toledo thing. It was a great interview. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. A lot of people reached out after the show and just kind of said, hey, this is really good information. It was a really good show. I appreciate all you guys coming on. But let's get into the nitty-gritty. The reason I've got good old Randy here is trying to get some drinks in him so he was relaxed and calmed down. It's just YouTube. It's just YouTube. Just a bunch of dent guys on YouTube. I wonder if the Dent Reaper, if the Gray Duck Dent Repair got to 100 yet. Did you get to 100 yet there, John? What's up, Dwayne? I hope he did. If you guys can, go to Gray Duck Dent Repair on YouTube and subscribe to his channel. We're trying to get him up to excuse me.
Bless you.
Trying to get him up to 100. So anyway, A1's also selling the wedge, John's saying, the Dent Reaper. So it's awesome. He's up to the Gray Duck Dent Repair is up to 99 still. So let's get him to 100, guys. Come on. Gray Duck Dent Repair. If you can, put your link up there, John, so guys know where to look. So anyway, the main reason for this show is really what your customers really want when they call a Paintless Dent Repair Company. So you're a Paintless Dent Repair Company. You're spending money on Google AdWords. You're spending money on Yelp, whatever your way of advertising is to get your name out there. You slowly grow your following and you're trying to get out there. And Randy here, he was a customer of mine. I fixed his parents' cars. I've fixed your car. Mm-hmm. When you're out there and you're online and you're trying to find a paintless dent repair company, what do you look for to find your company? Do you look at Facebook? Do you look at Instagram? What do you look at? You look at reviews or
Reviews? Yep, definitely reviews. Call around, maybe check prices a little bit. But I think for me, especially, you know, when you call and you talk to these other dent companies, you know, I'm looking for a person that's going to be friendly, who's going to talk to me, who's going to answer my questions that I have up front before I'm even putting any money down. And you know, I'm a big fan of customer service right off the bat. So communication is key. Um, that's where I start.
so are you more of a word of mouth, or are you more of a kind of look online, see what their Google reviews are, look at their Yelp reviews? What is your first attack in any service?
I think networking with friends and family first is my go-to.
Word of mouth is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
You know, what's your next step? So say you don't know anybody that does paintless dent repair, you don't know anybody that knows anybody. How would you look? Would you look at, like I said, the Google, the Facebook?
I think I usually use Google for most of that stuff. Google is my go-to.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I explain to my wife all the time. I'm like, reviews mean everything in our business. That's your first line of attack. You know, it's the way that they're going to get an idea who you are.
Right.
You know, so you're going to look on there, you go on YouTube, you look for dent repair companies, Baltimore, or you'll go to Google dent repairs. He's from Virginia, so he's going to get those Virginia folks, not the Baltimore best, you know. So, but you're going to look around, you're going to see their Google listing come up. You're going to look at the reviews. You're going to read your first couple. Usually that's the way that I do it. Then me personally, I look at multiple things. I don't just look at Google and say, that's my guy.
Right.
You know, I'm going to look on Facebook to see his Facebook page, look at his website. If his website's, you know, really interesting and a good website. And, you know, when you find the company, say you find RPS Dent Specialists on there, he's got great reviews. He's got really good social media. He's got really good, some videos on YouTube besides this Dent Digest show. And you're looking at Yelp reviews, and he's got one bad Yelp review. RPS Dent Specialist has one bad Yelp review. I've got 104 Google reviews, 5-star. I've got 7 Yelp reviews that are positive and 1 negative. And I go to a customer's house and I'm fixing his car, and he's like, I read all your reviews, are outstanding, but this one guy left this review. And I was like, so what was your thoughts? What was your thoughts on that one review? You're always going to have one guy out of the crowd. And I was like, okay, that makes me feel so much better. So after you find your paintless dent repair company, okay, you find RPS Dent Specialists. What's your first plan of attack to try to get them?
So my first plan of attack would be to make the phone call, chat with, you know, whoever answers that that number, and tell them what I have, you know, and what to expect, and try to get a feel for the cost. If I have a lot of questions, will they answer them right away, or are they going to kind of leave me in the blind? And I want to hear up front, you know, kind of an idea of maybe just a guess on maybe what it could cost or how it might turn out. You know, what to expect. Yeah.
You know, is it as in the responsiveness? So would you go on their website and fill out an estimate form, or would you call them?
I would prefer to call.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk to a human being. So you call. How do you gauge that? Do you gauge that as how the phone call's handled right off the bat?
Sure. That's for me. Yes. The customer service, how they will answer my questions. And you know, if the communication's there, I feel comfortable.
Yeah. So usually how I handle it is you call RPS. I'm going to ask for some photos. You're going to send the photos over. Problem I have is some of the older customers that I have can't use iPhones. They still have a flip phone.
The technology.
They have to get their father to send them. And it really depends on their location. And the biggest thing with customers with photos is I try to explain to everybody. They're like, well, you'll never see it in a photo. It's so small. It's so small. Hear it all the time. The problem with that is I try to explain I can't send texts to your residence and it's a smashed quarter panel and it needs a quarter. I can't pay a tech to drive around just to look.
Right.
So always try to get them to send some type of photo. Then I classify it. Okay, I know I can handle it. It's going to take this long. I'll come to your house. Or, I'm a big mobile guy. Some guys have shops. If it's something that's really bad to where I have to take stuff apart, I try to bring them to me, depending on their location. So you get a company, you send the photos in, he comes back with a price. Are you checking other prices, or is it how you feel about that phone conversation?
I think the price for me is last. I think it's the communication and the comfort,
You so you get that feeling of right off the bat, okay, this is my guy.
Right.
He knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
He's well represented online.
Right.
And
I think a key thing too is, when you call around and people know your work and they say good things, I mean, how can you go wrong?
Yeah. There's a lot of competition out there, even in Virginia. There's some really good companies in Virginia. I had a guy from Virginia on a couple weeks ago, Paul Corden. Awesome tech. But Richard Ralston, there's a lot of guys out there. How do you decipher? If you look online, you're like, okay, we have perfect example. We have Paul Corden, you have Richard Ralston, you have the Dent Masters. You have a lot of companies in that same vicinity of where you live. You call Paul Corden, you get a price. You're like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Price seems a little high. Are you calling around, or are you going to just feel it out and just go with it?
I think I'm going to feel it out. I still will stick on, even though the price might be a little higher. I think I go back to the communication, and the comfort, and if I have a lot of questions and you answer my questions right up front, I feel comfortable.
And I think a lot of it is how you're represented. To answer the phone, I always try to explain to people, when I come to your house, I want to bring the whole package. When I first started this company, a lot of my friends are like, why are your logo in your truck? And I said, you know why? So I pull up to a $2 million house in a rickety old pickup truck, and I'm pulling stuff out of the back. I'm not going to look like I know what I'm doing. I want to pull up in the driveway, not have to call them and say, hey, I'm out front. I want them to know when I pull up in the driveway. Right. So you call Paul, you say Paul Corden. We're going to use Paul as a thing, since everybody here knows who Paul Corden is, besides Randy, because he uses me. But he keeps buying all these Jeeps with these hard body line hits. He loves the Jeeps. So he calls Paul, gets a quote. Would you prefer going to a facility? Because some customers feel better going somewhere to get their repairs, or would you rather somebody come to you?
Well, in your case, we send you pictures and you check it out, and sometimes you might say, I know with our few different vehicles, Ryan's up front, he might say, oh well, I can tell by the picture, or hey, let me come by and take a look, and he's up front and honest. And
what's your personal, if you had to have the service done, what would you?
If I think, well, we might as well use the technology we have, and it makes it a lot easier for both of us. That way we have to waste any time. And
so we got the pictures, you approve the price. Do you want to go there, or do you want me to come to you? If the price is the same.
I personally, either one would be, I think either one is fine.
You get both. I mean, I get a lot of customers that are like, I'll just bring it to you.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I can come to you. No. Some people feel more comfortable walking into a facility and having it repaired than me coming to their house. A lot of people don't want to let you know where they live.
Right.
I even get it on the invoices.
Right.
When you're going through the invoices on my iPad, they're like, do I need to put my address? I'm like, no, it's up to you.
Right.
It's a comfortable feel, comes out, so you end up going to him. Or let's change this. You let him come to you. He sets up a time, and the weather's not looking good the next day. Do you call him, or do you expect a phone call from him?
I would hope he would call me and
Okay.
say, hey, this is the situation. This is what we should do, and I can work with that.
you know, I think me personally, I always look at the weather ahead. Even if there's a 40% chance,
Mhm.
and I'm going to them, I'm calling them and saying, hey, they're calling for weather. You know, do you have a garage? And if they say, no, I don't have a garage, a lot of times I'll say, well, you can bring it to my location today and we can still keep your appointment and do it. A lot of times the customers are like, let's reschedule. So in your instance, you reschedule. You get a call, we're going to be an hour, or a text message, we're going to be an hour out from your house. You're like, perfect. You have an idea. You see a truck drive up, like I was explaining. You've got a guy with a beat up Ford Transit or a guy with a newer truck that's clean, logos all of it. What is your perception from that point? And I already know the answer. So do these guys, but I'm still putting it out there.
I mean, as far as business, I think as far as business, I think seeing a newer truck, clean truck with the name of the company on there and all that, it represents the company. It represents your style. It represents the service you're going to give. It's showing a model.
You know, it gets to your house, hops out, floppy hat, flip flops, torn pants. What's your perception?
It would make me think twice for a minute, but I don't particularly judge by what someone's wearing, but it could.
You would feel better if somebody came in with a logoed hat, a logoed
absolutely.
shirt, iPad, kind of clean cut.
It looks rich. It looks nice.
And the way that I feel in our business, it's the way that I run my business, is it's a premium service. That's you're paying a premium, so I'm going to give you a premium. It's kind of like going to the Sprint store or going to the Apple store. You feel that difference. You get that whole feeling of the total package there, of the location, the feel inside the store, the way it's laid out. Every employee there is wearing the same thing, and the customer service. You feel like you're spending $2,000 on this computer, but you feel like you're getting that value. So, the way we do it, Shane and I get out of the truck. We've got matching uniforms, got an iPad. I usually either call or text. I usually sometimes don't like knocking on the doors because of dogs and that stuff. So he comes, he knocks on your door. Hey, Randy, let's take a look at your car. Come out there. He's taking a look at your car and he says, Randy, it's going to be a little more. It's a little worse than it looked in the pictures. And a lot of us will give a range. So I'll give a range from $200 to $200 to $300. I'll give a range. And a lot of that's just because you don't know. You're working off of their photos. So he comes out and he's like, you know what, Randy, it's going to be an extra $50. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think if he would explain to me where the difference is as far as what he saw from the picture to in person, and he explains the reason why it's more, and that to me that's respectable.
Yeah, I think it's all the communication from the phone call.
Right. Yeah.
That original phone call, you're going to say, look, I give a range. Obviously, I'm working off of your photos. This is why I'm giving that range. A lot of it's a communication. Mm-hmm. As long as he's communicative with you in the beginning,
right,
you're going to feel comfortable. You're not going to feel like, he's here. You don't get that feeling I'm stuck. Because you could say no way.
Right.
I don't really do much price negotiation. A lot of times it's the price is the price. If you don't like it, we'll leave.
Right.
So he gets all his tools out. Are you one to watch, or you one to leave them around? What do you, as the customer, what do you like to do?
From past experience, having Ryan work on my vehicles and my parents, I like to watch and ask questions and actually see what he's doing. It's quite interesting, because I think it's a talent. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I get it asked all the time. You get asked, can I watch? Because they're fantasized on how they're going to fix this. First thing is, you going to use a suction cup? No. You can use hot water? No. You can use a torch? No. Dry ice? No. That's not how we do this. And I always explain, I'm like, look, if it was a suction cup, I'd have 50 guys out there in trucks with just suction cups, and I would be a millionaire. I'd be a millionaire, you know. So you're watching him, he's fixing it. Do you want the tech to just fix your dent and focus on that dent, or do you want the or do you? I have my kid talking to me over here telling me she's leaving. So, do you want him to explain how he's doing the repair, or do you want him to just focus on the damage?
Well, I think out of respect, when someone's working on the vehicle and they need to, they might need to really focus and not be distracted. But I would be nice about it and ask, hey, do you mind if I watch? Do you mind if I ask some questions on what you're doing? And if the technician is comfortable with that, that either way, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm an explainer. When I come to a customer's house, I want them to be comfortable. For one, I'm at the residence. For two, I could be working on a $2 million car. You don't know,
right?
Or it could be a Dodge Durango. It could be anything. I want to explain the process to them so they're comfortable with the repair. And they're, okay, this guy knows what he's doing, kind of relieves their anxiety a little bit. You get that anxiety, you're working on an expensive car, even if it's a $40,000 truck,
right?
It's $40,000. My first car was $1,200. You know what I mean? So, and you want to educate them. And the more you educate the public, the better, the more you educate them on how the process is done, why I'm using this plastic guard over your window, why, if you need to sand or polish, or why you're doing that, what tools you're using. A lot of times the guys will see me pull stuff out of my go bag and they're like, what is that? It's all bent rod. And so it's a lot of it's education. I'm big on educating, just so the next time automatically he's like, that's the guy I'm going to call. He knows what he's doing. If you get a guy that's kind of fumbling for tools and struggling, and I'm very clean when I'm at somebody's house. I try not to let tools get all over the place. You'll see a lot of guys with tools thrown all over the place. I don't want that. I'm the type of guy, everything has its place. Keep my area really clean, my working area where I am at their house. I have a good question in here. Dwayne from Push and Polish says, would you recommend for a new company loans or buy as you go in order to buy all the marketing, vehicles, and tools? I would do it as you go. Keep it very lean. I used to work out of a Honda Pilot for a lot of years. I worked out of a 4-door Civic, like a 97 4-door Civic. You got to start somewhere. And I know we were sitting here saying somebody in a beat up truck, and I wasn't trying to down anybody's stuff. It's just preference. You have to start somewhere. I drove around a 4-door Civic that the rear doors didn't open for a lot of years. Had a little magnets on the side. The biggest thing with this business is it's a big expense. The tools are fair priced, but when you're trying to start a company, you have to buy business cards, clothing, everything, your marketing materials, all that is expense. You don't know that when you're first starting. So just buy as you go, a little bit here, a little bit there, try different things. Facebook marketing's pretty cheap. Google AdWords are cheap. You can cut them off, turn them on as much as you want. So that's always a good explanation. If you're driving your personal vehicle and it's a Dodge Caravan, I know Rick in here, he drives a Caravan. It's awesome. Doesn't matter what it is. Put a little magnet on there. You have to watch with logo on cars because of the laws in each state with insurances. Like in Maryland, I have to carry a commercial policy if there's logos on the side of the car, and it's a lot more expensive. So if you put a magnet on your car, it's not considered a commercial vehicle because you can remove it. So check your laws on that per state. But a lot of it's just how you represent yourself for the most part. Try to give them the full package. If you're driving an 82 Honda Civic, you're driving an 82 Honda Civic. But you get out there, you get a nice looking uniform, you're clean. Your tools are clean. Your car's clean even though it's old. I mean, Boz Dent Repair drove all the way up for one of our workshops from Georgia in a Prius. And it was loaded to the brim full of tools. But he's making it work. I think a lot of that's mental. A a lot of that is mental game on yourself. If you know you can go to a repair and you know you can fix it, you'll be fine. Another one here, it says it doesn't matter make or model. If they rang you, it's pride and joy. It's very true. If they've called you, they're calling you because they picked you out of the group and they're going to give you a try. It says it's so nice to show up in client's house with all the gear, but not in some cases unrealistic for new techs. As a customer, what are your thoughts on a young tech without all the logoed apparel? So he's saying if it's a newer guy, comes to your house, he doesn't have logoed shirts, that doesn't define your business. I think if you're clean, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Clean cut.
Absolutely.
If you have a trim beard, or as long as you don't have hair that's all straggly and it doesn't look like you got climbing out of a tent, you're going to be fine. It's expensive, Dwayne, to start a company. It's expensive to get all this stuff. It's not cheap. And I think when you're first starting, just do what you can. Get out there and make your work prove what kind of company you are. Make the work show your professionalism, as Jose said in here, and just prove them. And then after the first couple jobs, you're going to be buying those shirts and doing everything. It's all in your pride and what you have. You're working with what you have and what you can afford, and just get out there and make it happen. It's all in your own drive. It really is. So we're going to get back. Dwayne's got some killer questions today. He's getting me off guard today. Look at him. He's rocking and rolling. So customer does your repair. He's finishing up. He's quick detailing the side of your car, cleaning it all up, rolls your window up. He's like, Randy, take a look at your car. And you look at your car, you're extremely happy with the repair. Breaks out an iPad. Me personally, when I come to a customer's house, got an iPad, I have them fill out all the information first. And a lot of that's because really you're signing an authorization for repair. And what that authorization for repair is you're allowing him to work on your car. Because at the end of the day, Randy could say, I'm not paying you, and close his front door, and you're not getting paid. The authorization for repair is allowing him to have legal binding factor to get paid for the repair. You're physically allowing him to do the repair. So always have him sign, fill that out. Gives you the iPad. How are you going to pay? You're going to pay with a credit card. Are you going to pay with a check? Are you going to pay with cash? Cash is king, as we all know. I take credit cards. The reason I take credit cards is I use credit cards. I don't carry a whole lot of cash, and I want the customer to be comfortable. You know what I mean? The bad part with credit cards is when you'll get a denial letter like 30 days later. And I've had it happen to me. And what it is the wife pays the bills, and she's like, what's this $115 charge? I don't know anything about that. Decline. The good thing with that is you have a signed credit card receipt. You have your signed invoice. You just call them up and say, hey, Mr. Carl, I just got a declined credit card receipt. Were you not happy with the repair? And they're like, what are you talking about? Well, I just got a decline. And he'll be like, let me talk to my wife. Talks to his wife, calls me back. He goes, I'm going to resubmit it. Resubmits it and you're paid. I've never had a problem, knock on wood. It's not really wood, but it's close enough. And never had a problem with it. So you pay. What do you do after that? You're happy with the repair? He gives you a couple business cards. He chats with you for a couple minutes. Are you going on Google? Me personally, I go and I'm like, hey, if you can, I'm going to send you a link. Can you leave me a review on Google or Yelp? I don't push a lot of Yelp here. Yelp in Maryland's not very good. I don't know how it is in Virginia. I think Yelp's more for food. You're going to leave a review? Are you going to tell 10 friends? What exactly if you have a really good service and you feel really good and you feel like you got your money, what are you going to do?
I think if I'm asked by the technician to do the review, I will do a review, but I I think if I wasn't asked, I probably wouldn't do it, but I would tell all my friends and family how happy I was with the work and the name of the company.
I mean, it's reviews are tough. I'll send. I mean, it's been. I started Google stuff, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I just hit 105 or 104, and it's taken that long. It is hard. People just don't leave reviews. You know, and I'm not that guy in that company that's going to come up to you and say, look, if you leave me a good review at the end of the repair, I'm going to take $25 off. Just not that guy. How would you feel about that?
I wouldn't like that.
You know, and what I usually do is I usually leave a gift in the car for the customers. You know, when I had a really high-end detail done, and I got in the car, and the car was amazingly clean, and I was happy, and I sat down, and there was a cup of mints in the center console, and I was like, that's cool. That is cool. And that's what I remember. You know what I mean? It wasn't even about the detail. It took my mind off the detail, you know? So I always leave some business cards and some pads and pens.
Yeah.
And,
I love the pens. I have the pens all over the house.
You know, it's just something, and they walk, you know what I mean? You'll give somebody a pen and they'll be gone, or anything. Just your first line of defense in this business, I personally feel, if you can afford good business cards, get good business cards. Because if somebody hands you a flimsy, nasty business card, and that's all they can afford, I understand. But if I'm a big business card guy, you know, one of Dwayne's buddies, he's got John. I mean, he's got an awesome business card. It's plastic. It's reflective. It is an awesome business card. But business cards, if you can splurge on the business cards, even if you don't have logo gear, your first line of defense is that business card, because you're going to hand it to the manager, you're going to hand it to the customer, and they're going to look at it and be like, okay, it's a good representation of the company. You know, how do you, if you have a tech come to your house, tries to fix the dent, can't fix it, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you chose the wrong company? Do you feel like it was an unrepairable dent? Or unless he explained that up the front, hey, this is borderline. You know, me personally, I have Mobile Tech RX, and if it's a glue pulling, so say I have to glue pull something on your car and I'm at a retail customer's house, on Mobile Tech RX, they have on the business end, they have a glue pulling waiver, and I print them all out, fill out my information pre-filled out, and I'll go to the customer when he's filling out his information on the iPad. Since I have to glue pull, I always explain. I always say, look, there is a 50% chance we can pull paint. I'm pretty good at it, but still doesn't mean it couldn't happen. I'm going to need you to sign this waiver. And what this waiver is saying is I'm not liable for painting your car or repairing your car after we're done. Have you sign it. Some guys get freaked out about it. Some guys don't care. You know, if he's there, how would you feel if you got that? If it was a dent that the only way that he could fix it was glue pulling, how would you handle the waiver if you had that? Demand, you know.
I mean, I would definitely sign it. I wouldn't have any problem, because you know, it's you're taking a chance.
Cloud.
And you know, I have no problem with it.
The way I feel about this process, and I say this to a lot of customers, you're coming to me because you want the vehicle fixed. Right. Okay, you're either going to have me fix it or the body shop fix it, because you want it fixed. It is kind of a leisure. It is kind of a extra thing. You can drive the car with the dent in it. So he's having trouble repairing the dent. He can't repair it all the way. Are you still going to pay him some for the time that he's put in? Or are you, me personally, if I don't fix the dent and I'm not happy with it, I don't charge you. No matter what, how long I'm in there. Most of the time you can usually tell within a couple minutes if he can fix the dent. So if he can't fix the dent, it looks better, but it's not gone, how would you handle that situation?
I would feel the need to pay the tech for his time, and then say to the tech, okay, well, what are my options now that you can't fully fix the dent? Would you recommend somebody else to try and fix it, or would you recommend going to a body shop?
I think a lot of that's in the beginning. explaining, I'm not 100% if I'm going to get this all the way, or the paint's fractured. I think there's a lot of description in the beginning to where you'll handle your customer. Just explain to them up front. The communication is key.
Right.
If he's upfront and honest with you, it's so much easier.
Right.
If you guys have any questions just to ask a real retail customer, put them out there. Type them in there. We'll definitely go over them. Now, after your repair, you're happy with the repair. Like you said, you're going to tell your friends and family. If he asks you to do the review, you would try to leave the review.
Definitely.
How do you perceive Paintless Dent Repair now?
Oh.
Since I've done the repairs.
Well, the first thing is it's amazing how, how I've seen Ryan do it. I haven't seen any other technicians do it, but it's phenomenal how it happens and how it works. But I would recommend it to anybody. I mean, I had it, I've on my vehicle, I had it done first. And then I remember years ago, my mom had some problems with one of her cars.
350.
And she was a little scared.
Man,
at first.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. She was scared in the beginning. I said, Mom, don't just sit back and watch. It's amazing. And she was happy. And then other vehicles we've done a lot of cars,
4, 5, 6
at
cars.
least. Yeah.
It's an interesting business, and it's so crazy that it's been around for 40 some years and people still don't know about it. People still don't understand what we do and how it's done. And, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. It's an interesting trade. The sad part of this, there is a lot of guys. I got asked a couple weeks ago. I was at a Wawa getting gas. The lady was like, "Are you one of those guys that run around in the parking lots and I got ripped off at the grocery store?" And I'm like, "No." I said, "I'm driving around with my name on the side of the truck. I'm not one of those guys." That's the bad part, is the parking lot gypsies that are out there that do rip a lot of people off. You're going to have that in any business. You got bad contractors, you got bad roofers, you got bad cigars. Randy's a big cigar guy. He smokes the stinkiest guitar. I can't even say it. Cigars. But he's drinking whiskey. He's not drinking the Texas whiskey yet, but he's drinking the whiskey. But, it's all in perceive. It's all in how you portray your company, how you portray, a lot of companies portray themselves bigger than they are, which isn't always good, because everybody wants you now, and, it's hard to make everybody happy. And a lot of times these guys don't understand that it's just you, So another way of handling it, you're driving home, massive hailstorm comes, your car gets hit. What's your first thoughts on that? You're going to call the insurance company. "Hey, I've got hail damage. How do you want to handle this?" They'll probably say, "Well, let us come write an estimate." By the way, guys, look at this sky behind us. Look at this thing. Oh my gosh. Look at this. I mean, look at these crazy clouds coming in behind Randy. That'd be nice if that's a little hailstorm, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. But anyway, we got this nice dog in the background. It's really doing well. So he's going to call the insurance company and get an estimate. They're going to write probably 50% of that car for Paintless Dent Repair. You've already had the repairs done in Paintless, and you're going to push for the Paintless. How do you explain to the insurance company, "Hey, I've had this done. This is what I want to do. I know it can be fixed." Is that what you're going to do with the insurance? You're going to vouch for the Paintless Dent Repair companies.
Absolutely.
So you get the estimate. They write you a check for $750. It's a lot more than that. You're going to call the tech that came to your house, or are you going to look for another tech, or are you going to go to your local body shop that you have a relationship with, and maybe they don't use the same company? How are you going to, what's your first step in that?
Well, my first step would try to plead with the insurance company that I know it's going to cost a lot more to get the dents, removed by painless dent removal. And I would definitely want to go back to the same tech that I've used before.
Yeah. So you call that tech, "Hey, I got some Paintless Dent Repair. You wrote an estimate for $700. You know what I'm going to say? Yep. That's what they do. Keep the check. Then I come over. I look at the car. Most of the time, I won't look at a hail damaged car outside. Most of the time, I'll make you come to me and go over the damage. The biggest thing is light, reflections. Is the car clean? Write a heavy estimate. If you're going through a repair facility that, say, you have a body shop, a service king, and it's by your house and you've used them before, and I'm their vendor already, you're already going to feel comfortable because you already know who's going to do the repair. You're going to take your car in there. You're going to schedule the repair. If it needs parts, a lot of times they won't schedule the repair right away. They'll kind of order the parts, get you in, and then go from there. A lot of times the belt moldings get dented, the window moldings, all that stuff gets dented. So you have to replace them. It's back to how the companies handle themselves from the go for your comfortability. It's all in how you explain yourself off the get. So I wanted to keep this kind of short since we are kind of out here in paradise, and I wanted to get a real customer out here and get his feel of how he feels about Paintless Dent Repair. Granted, we're friends, but I still give him the same service as I do any customer out there.
Absolutely.
Even though he lives in Virginia, he brings it to me. I mean, I've fixed him at my house several times, and I think a lot of things now in our business is the education, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, just seeing what guys can fix, how they fix them. There's some really good YouTube videos out there. Great duct dent repair. With some really good YouTube videos to where you can see how they're fixing it. Some guys will explain the repairs, what tools they're using. The good thing in our end of business is technology. The lights, the inspection wedges. I mean, there's just so many things. You guys got to get yourself one of these, man. There's so many more tools out here now that make our job easier. Just a better repair. But no, Randy, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you for having me. This is very
coming
nice.
on. Yeah. Something quick and easy, give you guys a little different look, a little different background. Got some birds, some ducks. It seems like there's hail falling all over the place, but Maryland. Got a little bit in Maryland. I talked to Evan from Dent All Stars, and he has some hail. So, there was definitely hail all over the place. It seems like it's getting worse and worse. The storms are getting bigger. But appreciate you guys watching. Another Dent Digest live show. Next week, I've got another guest on and another giveaway. So next week should be a good show. Join us next week, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I know it's tough for the California guys, but it was tough for me to be up late and do it later. 10 o'clock is probably the best time to do this show, but I'm out of the house at 6 o'clock in the morning and going to bed at 11:30 is just too tough. So I appreciate you guys coming on, watching this little show. Remember, guys, keep it real. See you next time. Thank you.